been a while. So I figured today we're gonna switch up the content a bit because I don't know, my normal content hasn't been doing all that great. So I saw it, and I just finished playing Tales of Arise. No, I haven't done the post-game crap. Don't even get me started on that. But what I'm gonna do, ignore the fact that I'm playing FE4 right now because I don't got the stuff to go recording on a PS5, and also it's not my PS5, so I can't just get on it whenever I want. But anyways, I figured I would go over some of my gripes with the game, but also what it did really well. So kind of a review, but not unbiased. Okay, so first off, I really enjoyed the story of the game. Like, I think that's the best place to start because that's what it did best. It was perfectly paced in the first half, and then really slow paced in the at the beginning of the second half. I'm also going to keep the spoiler free because I want y'all to go play the game for yourselves. And then at the latter half of the second half, I didn't care for it much. That's when the pacing to me got atrocious. Like, the first half's pacing was perfect because you got a few story beats per kingdom. It wasn't overwhelming, and more importantly, you got enough earth-shattering revelations that it's manageable, but not overwhelming. Like, first kingdom, you kill the Lord, you learn the purpose of the crown contest, all of that. And then you get like 2 to 3 main world building segments, which is fine. Okay, I like that. The problem comes starting in the second half. In the second half, not to spoil anything, but there's like a mysterious dungeon that comes down from another planet. And obviously you have to go explore it. And number one, I hope for your sake, that you grind to level 60 something, because there's no way you're beating them if you're just following the plot naturally. Like, for reference, I was fighting the final boss, and I was 10 levels under it. And now keep in mind, the final boss's own thing that I'm going to talk about later, but oh my god, the entire final dungeon is so boring. But anyways, second half is fine. You're just going through dungeons, and then everything's fine until you go to find... I'm not going to say exactly what it is you're trying to find, because again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But you have to find something that's very important to the main character's past. So, when you go to find it, it's just... I don't even fucking know. Like, seriously. It takes forever. You're going through an entire ass volcano. Everything hits harder than a Black Mother 3. I mean, again, just naturally following the plot, you shouldn't even be that under-leveled. But everything is just a damage sponge, which sucks, because the first half, while yes, it did kind of feel like everything was a damage sponge, that feeling didn't last long because you could kill them in about a reasonable amount of time. In my opinion, and at least. So you're not... It's not unruly. It's not like a ungodly amount of time. It still kind of overstates its welcome, but it's not an ungodly amount of time. But... oh my god. After that... after the first half... and near the... It gets just unreasonably long. Like, your average fight, especially near the end of the game, will go on for at least 10 to 20 minutes. It's to the point where I had to stop checking the time because every fight took forever. And I really like the combat of the game too. Like, a lot of people complain about the combat of Tales of Arise. I actually found it quite fun. And I liked its unique setup. But at the same time, there is no reason on God's green earth it should take 20 minutes to fight what basically equates to basic grunts. Like, yes, they're technically boss monsters, but let's be real here. The amount of them you're fighting, and at the pace you're fighting them, there's no reason it should take 20 minutes. And then, the other thing is... oh my god. Final dungeon. Actually, not even just the final dungeon. The final 2 dungeons of the game, including most of the final boss, you are literally just spamming the same damn skill. Like, at the beginning of the game to about the beginning of the second half, you want to change up your strategy. You don't want to focus on weaknesses, you just want multi-hit skills, juggling skills, stuff like that. So, that's what I mainly built the main character off of. He had plenty of elemental coverage, and I got all of his abilities. But the main thing I was prioritizing was juggling skills and things that easily led into combos. Keep in mind, you even get trophies for longer combos. Like, if you're going achievement hunting, you need to get long combos. And honestly, it's a good way to kill most things. At least for the first half of the game. The moment the second half begins, you realize that half of your skills are just fucking useless. Useless, I tell you. Like, genuinely, what the hell? I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna spam 2 moves. Thunder Fang and Lightning Thrust. That's it. If you're playing as the main character, that's all you're gonna spam. You aren't even gonna use... okay, for reference, the game has something called the Blazing Sword. Which... fire-ass name, but... it's like your... it's like your ultimate move. Like, you're meant to use it sparingly to kill really tough enemies. It's really satisfying to use, and you use it by holding down specific special attacks and having the abilities unlocked. Some of them are unlocked through leveling up, some are unlocked through story progression, others are unlocked through optional subquests, but you're meant to just, use them sparingly. You're meant to use it sparingly, and against a normal enemy, 9 out of 10 times, unless you're in the second half of the game, it's basically a death sentence. Hence, for a normal enemy getting hit by that thing. And it's good because you can't just spam the blazing sword. If you wanted to do any real damage, you have to charge it up. Which, just using the sword costs you HP. But charging it up means you have to sacrifice more and more HP, so you have to ration out how much you want to charge it for which attack, and then how you're going to heal up. So it's a really delicate balance between healing and attacking. Which is good. Believe me, it would be way too easy. The game would be way too easy if that didn't exist. But my main gripe with the blazing sword, since I like it so much, is A, right when you're about to get all the skills for it, you basically can't use it. Wanna know why? Story. A story event happens and you realize just how weak you are without that thing. Like, thematically it's good storytelling. Because it shows how the main hero is much weaker without the heroine. Whatever. But realistically, when half of your power is based off of that damn sword, and suddenly you don't have it, prepare for hell to break loose. Because suddenly everything is killing you. Like, to a ridiculous degree. Like, I was barely able to fight, the basic scrubs because I didn't have the sword. Like, it's basically a 90% nerf, which thankfully doesn't last long because you get the heroine back pretty quickly after you lose her. And best of all, it doesn't have like a boss fight attached to it. It's more of like a story thing. And it does kind of foreshadow what the plot in the second half will be. But the main problem is you barely get... Using the blazing sword after a while is just not ideal. Which sucks because it's such an awesome idea for a weapon. Because it does pitiful damage. Like, I'm talking even if you fully charge it up till you're at like 1 HP and a single flick could kill you, it is tickling most foes. Like, it's ridiculous. And then you think, oh, but if you're an RPG player like me, which a lot of you who watch my channel aren't exactly, but you would probably think this, wouldn't this be solved at the end of the game by getting your ultimate weapons? And that's what I thought too. Until I had the worst realization to have. You don't get your ultimate weapons for the final boss. Yes, you heard. And now keep in mind, there's 2 sets of ultimate weapons. You got the ultimate craftable weapons, and then you have the devil arms, which are recurring weapons and tails. But both of those things are locked behind the in-game dungeon. So that's fun. Oh boy. Boy, I can't even use... I shit you not. I didn't even get the second best craftable weapon. And the stupid thing is, I beat the game with a joke weapon. Or maybe not a joke weapon, because you get it from a subquest and it's reasonably powerful. But it's called the wedding cake cutter. It is not supposed to be like the weapon you beat the game with. That's another thing, the weapon design. At first, I was loving it. Especially the sword you get after beating the second dungeon, the second kingdom. And specifically, the one on the box art. Because you get the sword and the armor at the same time. And I'm like, oh my god, this looks so cool. Immediately downhill from there. Because that was the coolest looking weapon. It was just downhill. Most of the weapon designs, with the exception of maybe the ultimate weapons, because those look pretty cool, but they are kind of just reskins of each other, but they have the same design scheme except different weapon, but same design. Which, no shade to the weapon designers. Like, for most of these weapons, they look really fucking cool. But, for the weapons that come after you get the blade on the box art, they just look dumb. Let's take, for example, the Atonement Edge, which you need to craft for, because, you know, you have a skill tree, but in this game you unlock parts of the skill tree by doing subquests. So if you want to complete the main character's skill tree, you have to do a bunch of quests, but also craft the Atonement Edge. That and a bunch of other weapons too, but mainly the Atonement Edge. It's literally just an uglier version of the sword on the box art. That's it. That's literally what it is. It's just a lighter version of it. Which, yeah, it looks alright, but still, it's pitifully weak. You're supposed to get it now, keep in mind, I didn't get much use out of it because you were supposed to get this in the first dungeon of the second half of the game when you kill a certain enemy, but obviously, since everything was kicking the shit out of me, and the enemies that drop the materials are some of the most powerful motherfuckers, I obviously avoided them like the plague. Like any rational person would do. So, I never got the Atonement Edge, and I had to go back to go kill those enemies and obtain it. And then, I guess, for the point of the game, it was supposed to be grabbed in, it would have been good. But, if anything, it was more of a nuisance to get than anything else. And then, that's about it. The main character's weapons are the best looking weapons. Everyone else's, especially your pugilist. I'm not, again, not saying any of the character names. I want you to go play the game for yourself. But your pugilist, just all of his weapons just look ugly. And that's through no fault of the designer. I'm sure the designers put their hearts and souls into those designs, but at the same time, I gotta be honest, it was not impressing anyone. Like, genuinely, it sucked. The only good-looking weapons were his ultimate weapons, in my opinion, and maybe a few exceptions here and there. Like the Tyrant Fist or something. But otherwise, they were just so bland looking. And the main heroine wasn't much better. Because all she had were guns, which some of them looked good and the joke weapons were funny. But otherwise, I don't know. I wasn't exactly going out of my way to collect them. Like, it was just, they were just kind of there. And then, I guess, the best looking weapons were either the main character or your one tank of the party, which actually, that's the worst one. No one else has good looking weapons, and the whole game requires you to know how to counter-attack, hack, and all that. So, and every other character, except for your tank, can. They can counter-attack, hack by dodging. Your poor tank cannot dodge. Like, it's not even, you don't want to dodge because you want to be guarding. No, you just straight up can't dodge, and you're forced to just eat the damage. Yes, there's perfect guarding, but unfortunately, perfect guarding still costs health. So, honestly, I just never ended up using her. Because guess what? Number one, she didn't have any useful skills for the end of the game. Because, you know, everything is weak to lightning. Or wind. And she has, let me check my notes here, neither. Actually, no, scratch that. She has one lightning move. And then you have like a secondary healer. And I say he's a secondary healer, but he's also your main dark magic caster. So he's definitely useful, but I don't know. I barely ended up using him. Because he just dies so easily. The only time I would pull out the second healer is if everyone was dying and the main heroine couldn't keep up. Because in terms of healing and damage, the main heroine is just a better version of him. Like, there's really no reason to use either of them unless your enemy has specifically a dark weakness, in which case you pull out the second healer. Because he does a fuck ton of dark damage. But most enemies actually end up resisting dark damage because fucking A, you're literally in a dark themed dungeon. Why would it actually work like that? Like, actually, that's a big gripe with RPGs in general, if I really think about it. Why is darkness damage a thing? Almost all enemies will always resist or counter, or hell, even absorb darkness. But that's more of a RPG as a whole gripe than anything. But yeah, and then you got the main mage of the group. Ironically enough, despite her not having fire or any useful skills in the first half of the game, she becomes indispensable in the second half. Like, she single-handedly saved my entire playthrough. Just because out of all the characters who learned the most useful skills for the end game, your mage is the one. Because no one else learns nearly as many lightning skills. Like, you can almost if you were playing her manually, you could fill up almost every single skill whole slot she has with lightning skills. So she's definitely worth leveling up. And then your pugilist has one problem. He has the durability of wet tissue paper. Like, keep in mind, the pugilist of the game is my favorite character out of the game. Like, character-wise and story-wise, I think he's perfect. But at the same time, like, he's just kind of... Now, keep in mind, as with all Tales games, you get over-limits. And, honestly, his second one I didn't even use... I don't even think I've seen it activated once. Like, I just turned it off because his first over-limit just kills everything. Like, since everybody's weak to lightning, and his first over-limit does a fuck ton of lightning damage, there's really no reason to get his second over-limit because it does fire damage. And then, keep in mind, besides maybe the mage, no other character has fucking lightning as an overlimit. The main character has 2 fire ones. I guess the main heroine has... I can't tell if it's like light or... I think it's just light and then water and ice. The mage has wind and lightning as the first overlimit, and then... Actually, never mind. It was the mage that had water and ice as their second overlimit. I think... Actually, I think, the main heroine, for both of her overlimits, she doesn't have any element tied to it. It's an elementless, his overlimit. And then, we just talked about the pugilist. Second healer is decent, and it does earth damage, but actually, out of all the enemies that are weak to earth damage, it's pretty rare. I think there was only like 1 or 2 bosses weak to earth damage, and maybe a few groups of enemies, but that's about it. Of all the types of damage to do and be weak to, it's by far the rarest. I think the only thing more rare would be dark and light, and that's about it. And then we have the tank, who does, I don't know, light damage, I believe, for the first one, and I believe either fire or earth for the second. Actually, no, it's still light for the second one. I think her first one's elemental, has no elemental affinity, and then the second one has light. So not horrible, but yeah. Most of the overlimits really aren't that good. And then the one I was using by far the most was probably the main character, because he, even though his are perma-locked on fire, they are relatively strong. This does bring up one other grab I had, actually. You don't actually get told when you unlock the main character's second overlimit. And what I mean by that is, when you're camping outside specifically, you can talk to party members throughout the game, and you're heavily encouraged to do so. Always, if you see that you can talk to your party members, do it. Because that's how you unlock the second overlimits. It's by maxing them out. Normally you'll get it done by the late game. And I would say, like, the second to last dungeon, I had maxed everyone out and gotten their second overlimits. But you do get an achievement for maxing everyone out, and you get the Wall Smasher achievement, which is a reference to a line that Alphen says in the first half of the game, but you can figure that out for yourself. And what ends up happening is you do that, and you think, okay, how do I unlock the main character, her second overlimit? What you don't realize is you already did. Or maybe you did when you were looking through the menu to select arts, but the only way you see that is if you put him on a certain setting. But yes, I'm pretty sure you unlock his second overlimit by maxing out every other party member. So that brings me to the second gripe I have with overlimits in this game. You have the very, very, very stupid conditions to do the second one. Like, to the point where it's not even worth doing the second overlimits half the time. And to date, I've never seen any of the other second overlimits. The only second overlimit I have seen is Alphen. I mean the main characters. Because I don't know if it's like story required that he does his second overlimit, or if I just somehow triggered it correctly. But what you have to do is you have to chain together a 5+ hit combo by doing 5 different arts. You have to, or maybe you don't have to do 5 different arts, but you have to chain together different arts into a 5-hit combo. And then the other stupid part is you have to hold either... Okay, I was playing on PlayStation, so you have to hold any of these two buttons. You have to hold cross, square, or triangle, and you have to hold 2 of those down at the same time, mid-combo, which is not easy, in order to do it. And keep in mind, there is delay between you doing that, the combo, and it triggering. So if you mess it up by even a second, you're gonna get the original overlimit. Which, again, is fine, because half the time you want to do the original overlimit, because that's the most of your damage. especially if you're doing the pugilist. At that point, you might as well just turn off his second over limit, because it is useless. Like, if anything, I've seen more enemies that resist fire than are actually weak to it. But by far, the worst enemy in the game is the final boss. Which, first of all, soundtrack, I'm going to take a brief detour into soundtrack. Tales of Arise has one of the most beautiful soundtracks I've ever heard. The battle themes are perfect, especially in the first half of the game. It's all really fitting of the atmosphere you're in. And then, it's just overall satisfying to listen to. That is until you get to the second half of the game. Literally every fight has the same damn music. Or maybe it didn't, and I just didn't hear the differences, but it just blended together. Like, the unique stylings of every kingdom is gone. Just gone, without a trace. It's all just orchestra music, which I love orchestra music, don't get me wrong. I love orchestra music. Heck, I did orchestra for some time, actually. But it's to the point where it's kind of forgettable. It's just forgettable orchestra music. That's my problem with it. Like, you hear it once and you really don't think about it again. Like, it's not one of those things that get immediately stuck in your head. Like, personally, my favorite tracks from the game were Paradise of Coexistence and, what was it? Night and Light. Specifically. Those were my favorites. And I would say those were the best songs. Which are from the second and third kingdoms, respectively. Beneath the Rule of Fire is also pretty good, but I didn't care for it. Path to Evil was... I don't know, it was also... It kind of suffered from second half syndrome, where it was also kind of forgettable. And then... I guess I also liked... Ice Moon. That one was really good. It didn't stick in my head like Paradise of Coexistence or Night and Light did, but it was still really good. But then after that, everything was forgettable. Just everything. Like, I never thought about it again. Anyways, on to the final boss. Technically, there's 3 final bosses. And what I mean by that is, you have the final boss of the first half, which I believe the difficulty is what I wanted for the end of the game, actually. Like, it was the perfect difficulty. It didn't hold your hand, but it also wasn't impossible if you were a little underleveled. It genuinely gave me a challenge. Which, yeah, most Tales games do. But normally when you're playing on normal mode, it's not that hard. So I definitely appreciated the Last Lord just absolutely kicking the crap out of me. The first few times I did it. And then we get hit to the actual final boss, which, again, not spoiling it, but for something that can consume the entire universe and threatens to erase all of existence, he goes down like a fucking bitch. Like, genuinely, I was crashing out because the whole time you were just spamming, or I guess in my case square, but it could either be cross or triangle for you, I don't know. But literally, it's just Thunderfang spam, which I had already been doing for 29 to, or I guess closer would be 59 hours. Basically, the entire second half of the game was just me spamming the crap out of square to do to either do lightning thrust or Thunderfang. And that was like a good 2/3 of the final boss. The entire first final boss was just that. Doesn't matter which phase you were in, that's all you were doing. And then came the final Lord again. First of all, I wanted to kick this guy's teeth in. Because, first of all, narratively wise, the main heroine is dying. Just actively dying. The main character could have, if he didn't do a grandstanding speech, which obviously he had to do because it's an anime game, he could have long since killed this guy, took the Rena's Alma, you'll learn what that is when you play the game, and gotten rid of the big bad. He could have done that, but no, instead of taking the blazing sword and stabbing it through this motherfucker's chest, he does a speech about forgiveness and then allows the fucker to blow himself up, taking the magical artifact with him. You know, the thing we need to save the world. And then, keep in mind, it's not, the ending is good. I don't have a problem with the ending, because you know what? It's kind of foreshadowed how they deal with the final boss, how they actually deal with the final boss. Because, the mage actually brings up how they could appeal to the will of the planet. It was some Final Fantasy VII type shit. Final Fantasy VII, Earthbound, just classic JRPG crap. So, it wasn't surprising. But at the same time, really? If you have to do that, there's a smarter way to do it. And it doesn't involve risking your now wife's life to do it. And then, my other problem is, I love the end credit scene, because it shows you exactly what happened to every character at the end. Except one thing. None of these were actual cutscenes. Like, genuinely, I wanted to see these as actual cutscenes. Like, don't get me wrong, they were beautifully drawn. The art was amazing. Hey, whoever did the art for Tales of Arise put their foot in that crap. But at the same time, it's a little disappointing.
Sir!
But Yeah. Honestly, all in all, great game, but definitely not worth putting 300 hours into it. Oh, right. But that's not the most egregious part of the game. The most egregious part of the game is that you have to spend $22, or I guess in my case $9, because it's on sale at a heavy discount, on DLC to get the actual ending. And to get any use out of your ultimate weapons. Because by the time you get the devil arms, nothing left to do. You killed everything. Can't even use it on the big bad. Like, you have to... And no, you can't just go to the other world first and then kill the big bad. It doesn't even unlock until after you clear the game. Oh, right. And there was a close call for me, actually. I almost had to fight the final boss again because when it said, oh, you can save at the end, I thought, oh, it automatically saved. It didn't. I literally almost exited out without saving the game, so I would have had to fight the final boss all over again, and that took at least 40 minutes. And by the time I was done with the final boss, it wasn't even satisfying to kill it. I was literally just so pissed that it took any and all enjoyment out of the fight. But the fact that you have to buy DLC just for any of this, annoying.
Oh shit.
Anyways, that's about it. Also, I hope you appreciate me keeping the spoiler free. Please like, subscribe, or comment, I guess. I don't know, do I have a hype button? If I do have a hype button, hit the hype button. If I don't, I don't. And go play Tales of Arise if you think it's worth the time and money sink. Honestly, it's not as bad as it could have been, because I got my copy from GameStop pre-owned. So in total, I only would have spent about $19 on everything, including DLC. At least that means I got the DLC while it's on sale. But I know some people bought this game at full price and not as a PS4 game. So that's a lot of money. So I definitely recommend getting it used.